School's out, but not for much longer for pupils in the inland provinces who start the academic year on Wednesday. The Competition Commission last year found that parents and guardians can't be forced to buy school uniforms from specific retailers in order to broaden the market. Well, is this making a difference to the pockets of many who are also forking out for stationery and ever-increasing school fees? Heidi Giokos is shopping around today along with countless Gauteng families. Let's check in with her. Heidi, what does this mean, the competition's ruling for pupils? Does it mean that there are far more places that they can go to get a basic white shirt and a pair of grey shorts, for instance?
Yes, I think that Competition Commission ruling is significant for parents that were subjected to only one specific outlet, only being able to purchase school uniform and whatever else is necessary for the year ahead. But that ruling says you can actually shop at any outlet. But we will be getting further clarity and detail from the Competition Commission. They have agreed to speak to eNCA a little later on, and they'll also be releasing a statement, because we do know that schools are opening on Wednesday, so a lot of parents might be panicked and don't really remember that ruling. But I think just to get a sense of preparedness and readiness, especially here in Gauteng, we are joined by Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona. Thanks so much for your time, Steve. We do appreciate it. Schools open on Wednesday. Is it all systems go? Is everything ready?
Indeed, this all system goes. You know that the school readiness, we do it actually before this year. We started with that last year, and you know, most of our schools are ready to receive learners. Safe to say that when we are done with the process of placing the outstanding ones, we should be in a position to say, yes, we are ready to go. But we've been interacting with our districts throughout. It's all system go.
Okay, speak to us about how many have been placed and whether or not there's a concern, especially for grade 1s and 8s that have not been placed. What is the solution there?
No, the initial numbers that we put, you know, in the public space, that was 1.4 that were unplaced. We will see a dent today because most of our officials, they are coming back from leave. We're operating with skeleton staff, most of our district offices. So today you will actually see a lot of, you know, movement. Talking about those that are going to districts for inner grades, you know, those in between grades, you know, but then the grade 1 and 8, our challenge is in Gauteng East, Johannesburg Central, and Ekurhuleni North around Olifantsfontein. But today, because we have given them mobile units, they will be in a position to place you know, a majority of those. So by the end of this week, we should be done with the outstanding placements. But one other thing that is happening is the appeals. We committed that by today, at the end of the day, we should be done with the process of appeals. You know, it's a process, you appeal online, and our legal department go through, you know, all those appeals and take them through the office of the MEC, because you know that you appeal to the MEC, and then they will then fast track that process and make sure that parents receive their outcome. Today, we have set this date, you know, aside to say we will be finalizing that process. But we know that in a school that we are at now, at Hillview, we have placed most of parents from Pretoria North, those that wanted Acacia, which could not accommodate everyone. We know that some of the appeals will be saying we don't want this school. We're just here to check that everything is fine, and we can see. I mean, the school is performing. They managed to build more classes. You know, giving them more money again to build, you know, more classes so that they can accommodate the numbers. So I think we are ready on that one.
And just lastly, Steve, many parents that might be watching that their children might have not been placed, they feel quite distressed because schools are opening up on Wednesday. What is the steps that they can take to make sure that their children are placed, and perhaps just some advice to say don't panic, we are trying to deal with the situation? Because you did mention it's about 1,400 that still need to be placed.
No, we are working tirelessly. That's why we've committed that with the plans that we have, we should be in a position to accommodate all of them. That's why we have decided that on Wednesday we are opening late registration for those that did not apply. And we know that in many of our districts today, parents, you know, flock in there they need to apply for the late registration, which we have not opened as yet. We'll open on Wednesday, but we just want to assure them that when we open, we're going to avail schools that are available, that have space. So they must just go in the system and apply. But we just want to assure them that we are aware that the children must be in a classroom, and it's our responsibility to make sure that children are in a classroom. That's why we appeal to those parents that will say, you gave me a school that I don't want, that I didn't apply to, but we are actually making sure that the child is in a classroom. And in terms of changing a school, whether you are saying you are not satisfied with the school, as parents we need to be participating in the school environment and make sure that we change things. You know, I mean, there are schools that were bad, but then because of our intervention and participation of parents, they managed to turn the corner, and those schools are performing well now. So we need to participate as parents in our children's education.
And just lastly, very quickly, Steve, we run out of time, but if you can just tell us how much money has been allocated to build further classrooms and to develop some of the schools to accommodate those that have not been placed or need more capacity.
We have set aside over 240 million rand to be distributed to all the identified schools. We have already identified schools. They've already have their plans. They're just waiting for the money to appear, and then they will start with the process. We know that there are schools that gave us classrooms in 2 months. There are those that gave us in 3 months. So the mobile units will be assisting to alleviate pressure in the meantime while we are waiting for those classrooms to be built. So we are quite convinced that schools on their own, with monitoring from our side, they are in a position to build classes quicker so that they then accommodate learners.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that clarity, and we wish you all the best. It's always quite a stressful time of the year, eNCA, especially when you have parents that don't have their children placed. But hopefully that will all be sorted out. And as you heard from Steve Mabona, that late registration will take place on Wednesday. So parents are urged to just follow the processes and obviously not rock up at schools demanding for their children to be placed, because there are processes that need to be followed.
Well, Heidi, this focus on schools today is just making me think about how much I've got to do when I get out of studio here. It's just crazy. I mean, I've really have been a little bit lastminute.com. Thank you so much for that report for us from Gauteng. Heidi Giokos there reporting on the ramp up to the new school year.